and welcome back to the Best of Three podcast. I'm still Alvin. That's still Torrey. TH, how you doing?
What up? What up, Alvin? How you doing?
I'm I'm a little tired. I'm not gonna lie. I got up early this morning. I didn't tell you about this because I wanted to wait until we were recording. I had a 6 a.m. court time at RCS, now known as Lifetime.
Okay.
First person I see when I get onto the indoor courts. Calm down, Browder.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
No,
dunking.
I saw Browder. Michael Browder himself.
Oh,
yeah,
no way.
yeah.
No way. How cool is that?
He's doing well. He's doing well. He lives up in that area. He does a little part-time
Yeah.
teaching there every once in a while. Just kind of in the
God,
mornings. But
sure.
it was good to catch.
Chowder, as Dauber used
Yeah.
to call him. That is great.
It was
That
good to
is
see
great.
him.
I got to reach out
It was
to
good
Michael.
to see him. Yeah. Played a little indoor tennis this morning. It was fun. Hit the ball.
Here's my question, Alvin, and I'm going to get controversial right off the rip. What is going on with Lifetime changing half their courts to pickleball courts? I mean, if there was a mecca of tennis in the Atlanta area, as far as where all the top academies had
Yep.
gone through, it was RCS/Lifetime. And I feel like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy game of pickleball for kicks and giggles. I think it's a great game, and I honestly love the game in itself.
That's
But
weird.
I'm not so sure I like all this. I do. It's a racket sport. I like padel.
Hey,
too,
I'm here for
I
Padel.
just-
I am old school.
I'm
I've
saying,
got
right?
plans on Padel.
Padel, and we had at my old club, we had platform tennis. You heard it right here. If it has a racket in the ball, with some exceptions, racquetball I don't necessarily like, but squash I played a time or two, whatever. Padel I love. I mean, I just like the volleys of it. I like the quick action of it, and I'm not gonna hate on pickleball. I used to, but I'm not gonna
Fair.
hate on pickleball. I want to say this because I'm getting in the weeds. What is up with the facility changing so many of the courts?
It's
pickleball courts.
It's
I'm
a
like,
it's a demand
there's
thing.
No place.
It's
has
a
that kind of
demand
volume.
thing. Like their clientele.
not that
I mean,
much
the
demand.
people vote with their wallets. Like they want to play pickleball. I mean, they have what, 8 indoor courts? Like that crazy. That in itself is unique, right? Actually, take that back. They changed half of them to pick. That's
They
right.
just
The
changed.
back
I'm trying to say
four.
half the indoors
The
changed.
back of the indoor is pickle, but
And half, if not 2/3 of the outdoor change. That's
Yeah.
why I'm bringing it up.
I don't know. I'm not a pickle guy. I am very interested in Padel. The old ITA is now ITP.
Yeah.
They've got covered
Yeah.
courts and pickle and Padel. I'm here for it. But anyways,
I only say this, and I want to get back to the French Open and wrap up and the tour and so on. I just say it to say, I am still a tennis
Yes.
purist, 100%. I love tennis. I will always love tennis. I feel like pickleball is kudzu. It is growing on. I know that sounds like a weird statement. It's growing on things that are already growing. It doesn't do anything on its own. It's a growth. It metastasizes on things already there. And unfortunately, like kudzu, it doesn't give anything back. It smothers what's there.
deep
Now,
cut.
if you told me that a lot of the pickleball players were now going to come into tennis, I'd say, this is a great symbiotic relationship. But pickleball is now taking not just the people that don't play tennis or can't play tennis or can't overhand serve anymore. It's not just taking the type that were on the sidelines for a while and couldn't learn tennis, right? Which, let's face it, tennis is a tough game,
Yep.
which is why I love it. You're talking about, and again, I love its appeal. I love how quick and easy it is to pick up. Alvin, I'm married. I got 2 kids. Me and my daughter, my son, my wife, we've been out playing. There's not a more social
Yeah.
game out there that
It's a
we
great
all can
social
play
game.
in. It's a great social game. You heard it right here. I quit hating on it a while back because I realized, look, this is a lot of fun. Is it for the true tennis purist? No. Will it replace tennis ever? Not even close. Tennis is a way of life. It is a calling, if you heard it right here. But it's also that hard to master. It is hard to learn. It is hard to get good at, which is why you love it. And when you get halfway good at it, something happens to you. You feel like, you know what? I'm invested in this game and I want to get better. Pickleball, I've seen people get better within 20 minutes. And
that's
there's nothing
that's
wrong
the
with
beauty
that,
of it, though.
but it's
That's
to
the beauty of
say
pickleball. And I'm
that's
not
the
a pickle.
beauty
I'm
of
not
it.
a
The
pickleball
fact,
enthusiast. I'm just saying, like, if it gets
oh,
people,
I'd have you playing pickleball in 7 minutes. I swear to God. And I'm telling you, Alvin, it's quick. I heard a good stat from Austin Smith. If you or Tim is watching, shout out to you. Tim Smith, his dad, made a great point. Tim's already won himself a U.S. Open in pickleball. His son, Austin, played one at Georgia,
yep.
top player, top 20 in the world back in the day. He said, Torrey, it's the easiest game to pick up. It's one of the hardest games to master. He says, as you know, I'm a tennis purist myself. He says, but I'm getting into this pickleball thing. I've devoted some time to it. He pushed me to keep trying it a little bit and just, don't go into it with any preconceived notions. I said, you know what, Tim, you're right. I'm going to go into it and I'm going to appreciate it for what it is, not comparing. Just appreciate it on its own island, and that's what I tried to do. And
I'll second that. In that, like, obviously, I don't play pickleball. I've played probably twice in my life, right? And one thing that I heard that really changed the way I think about pickleball actually came from Andre Agassi. Agassi said, "I can go a month without hitting a tennis ball, and I can hit once a week. I'm not getting any better, regardless." Like, I'm not getting any better. I'm not getting any worse, right? He's like, but pickleball presents me with a new challenge. Like, it's for me to get really good at pickleball, I have to continue to play, and I can play. Like, I can do it 4, 5, 6 times a week, and my body doesn't feel as beat down as tennis court. Right?
Body doesn't do it to you. Where tennis will beat you down.
If Andre can come at it with an open mind, then I can think about it that way. And then also, it's a game that, I go to Hilton Head once a year with my family. We're going next week, and they've turned a lot of those tennis courts into pickleball courts. But it's really hard for me as a quote-unquote advanced player to find people to play with when I'm on vacation. But, like, everyone plays pickleball together. So that's the easy end. But I say that to say I'm going paddle. I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet, but I've seen videos and I've seen people do it. I'm like, that's what I want. I want that handsiness with the ability to, like, get 360 playoff stuff. Like,
playing off the walls and whatnot. And platform taught me a little bit of that. Long story. Let's get forward in the other stuff. I say it to say, for all of you tennis purists out there, and I'd love to hear the comments from some of the viewers / listeners to see what their thoughts are on it. I will always be a tennis purist, period. And I think that, and McEnroe said it best at one of the, I think it was an event at Indian Wells, and someone said, McEnroe, you're turning to pickleball now. And, he says, well, pickleball's paying.
Yeah.
So his point was, look, I'm still John McEnroe, how many, what is he, 8 Grand Slams? I'm not ever going to change my love of tennis, but sure, I'm an ambassador for pickleball. You know what I mean? And so it was one of those kind of things where, look, guys, you know who the sponsor is. You know what you know what it is.
Just kind of a segue from pickleball, but like next week, while I'm out on vacation, I did a very quick podcast with my new friend Farron, who is on Instagram as Hot Mess Tennis. Hot Mess Tennis. She is a firecracker. I really, really enjoyed talking to her. We'll probably post that one next week while I'm on Hilton Head. But she came to tennis from pickleball as an adult. So it's
her and probably 2 other people. How about that?
It's a very her perspective is very interesting, and I love talking to adult beginners. Because I when I see the sport through their eyes, I get joy from it. Like when I go out and play, I'm chasing my best days and fighting off demons. But like I see someone, there was a brother hitting serves. We were out there for an hour and a half this morning. There's a brother hitting serves like the entire time I was there, just next to me, and then drop hit forehands. I'm like, oh man, just to pick this sport up in a space where you can be more cerebral about it. About the fans, I'm gonna take a minute to talk to the people that are listening to us, because it's kind of like breaking the fourth wall. We've got a lot of new fans here, a lot of new people checking in with us.
Awesome.
So happy. Welcome. So happy to have all of you guys here. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. I do want to quickly call out maybe 3 of them. All
right.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's MCCCCCX. Highly engaged in the comment section.
Love it.
Really, really thoughtful. Love the stuff that he or she is commenting on. So that's been a lot of fun. Justin Modessa 544 And then Pecan Tanman 9322. My question, because I don't know, we started this podcast because, Torrey and I go way back. We like talking to each other and we like talking about tennis. It's a nice place to be. This is our version of hanging out at the bar talking about tennis, and our friends get to hang out with us.
In a heated, high level bar.
It's the country club we never had a chance to build. Yeah,
100%.
but I'm curious as to why people are here. So I'm gonna do this. If you want, shoot me a voice note. The email address for this podcast is alvin@bestof3productions.com. Shoot me a voice note or an email if you want. Let us know why you're here. Like, let us know your tennis background, like where you're from, like whatever you want to share with us. Because this is a community, and I think that's the really cool thing about tennis. Like, we can build this community around this thing that we all love, and we got to have a really fun weekend with the French Open. So that was a
love to hear them, and love to have some of the ones that are as invested in this as we are, to even be on the podcast, with us in future dates. Know that, and you said it before several times, Alvin, we're not media. We are tennis enthusiasts.
We talk about tennis. We don't cover tennis.
We talk about tennis, right? We don't cover tennis, and we're not here to cover. As I saw one of the comments, I was so happy to hear it. We're not here to cover play-by-play. We're not play-by-play. We're not radio. We're not we're not paid by. We do this on our free time and out of our own volition. But more importantly, we are because of our love and our experience, we are critics. We are gatekeepers. We are fans, high-level fans, I might add. And we would like to think with our, somewhat deep knowledge of the game, we have a perspective that is, more, I would like to think, deeper than most, and hopefully more insightful than most. And therefore, that's what we bring when we're talking to each and every one of you. And Alvin, let me say this for all the listeners and to you as well personally. There are days when I get off of the podcast and I say, Alvin had a good point.
Yeah, baby.
I don't want to tell him he had a good point, but he had a good point. And I come back and I'm like, all right, Alvin, you had me on this. And I think it's the same with you as well. Some of this stuff continues to grow on you a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of the banter / the conversation, to move someone's perspective, right, is to present a point deep enough. And without it having been challenged, it may not have stood the test of time or truly why it was my opinion in the first place. If it stands, then I feel better about taking said stand. At times when it doesn't stand, I go back and say, let me think about that. Because I haven't had it challenged. I haven't had it juxtaposed. And therefore, I'm not so sure about it. Maybe it was just a off-the-wall comment.
Well put.
And I think it's important. And therefore, and I hope that some of the viewers, listeners, can help us to continue that same thing. And maybe they have a few comments or long-held beliefs that they need. Guys, I got a question about this. I've always had a question about this. And I'd like to get it out there in the open and discussed with the community.
Well,
right?
I will encourage those people to please drop that in the comments. Let us know. I mean, we read them. Obviously, I'm in there. You guys have seen me. I'm easy to find. That's for sure. And I will stand 10 toes on anything that we say on this podcast. And because we're all friends here.
And to your point, it's the community. This is the place to share that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So kind of French. We want to do a little bit of French Open and kind of wrap up. Like we've talked about the finals on both men's and women's side. Fantastic. We got a damn near perfect semifinals on both sides. We were tennis fans.
Are great. Finals
blessed.
Are great.
But as I look back at the tournament and kind of the the first 6 months of the year as a whole, what do you think now that you did not think when we got started pre-Australian Open? Like I remember we did a podcast in December about some people that we were looking at and expecting more from, kind of specifically on the American side. I think Francis made us feel probably okay with his clay court performance about where he is right now. Sure. I think someone like an Emma Navarro Is this a sophomore slump, or is this a return to, is she finding her actual level? Like maybe she's not a top 8-10 player in the world. Maybe she is a 15 through 20 player in the world. I don't know. It's probably a little early to tell. But
sure. I agree with that too.
I don't always want to look at things through the lens of necessarily the top players. But the Alcaraz center of things, I find it to be so fascinating because we now have lift off, right, with this rivalry. And I remember, when Fed and Nadal were, chasing Pete and then also chasing each other for this like slams race, goat race, and this is pre-Novak coming on. I remember every Grand Slam feeling like it had real stakes to it.
Historical
implications,
sure.
Yes. And
for sure.
I felt like it happened kind of quickly, right around like 14, 15 slams, something like that, maybe 16.
Yeah.
So kind of coming back, we're at now 5 and 3 for Carlos and Yannick, which is, obviously there's a long road ahead, but that can double up on you real fast in like 3 or 4 years. So do you feel like it's the same? Are we on board for the same ride? I think that's the real question. Are we on board for the same ride?
100% we're on for the same ride. No one starts off thinking that's the destination, right? You play your best tennis and you see what it gives you. One of the things that I have seen, to your point, Alvin, this is now 5 and 3, right? This was the best installment yet. We've had a few others, right? The 4th installment was Rome, right? Not that long ago. Carlos Yannick right off of his quote unquote suspension and such. So to me, what I like about all of this is it seems to be getting better, and the two of them seem to be getting more comfortable in the 1 and 2 spot, and in that rivalry, we're kind of holding tennis up. We're the new torchbearers, right, for tennis, and I like that term torchbearer because let's face it, whoever is at the top is bearing the torch for where the tour is now, where tennis is now, and where they're taking it. And they're not just going around in some circles. They are forging ahead. They are literally taking the torch, and they're sprinting right now with the darn torch and going forward. So, yes, we're there. I like to think that Coco and Aryna are also there, right? Aryna needs to handle her post-match a little bit better, right? And kind of get over herself a little bit. But she also needs to appreciate that. She also needs to appreciate that she may not be ready for Coco to be her rival, but the rivalry is being born all the same. And I think she, in her mind, was chasing Iga and thought that once she beat Iga, that she's now the undisputed, and forgot that Coco had a word or wanted a word and wanted to have a little interjection. And I feel like that's also the great thing about tennis. Don't think that you've moved on without me. I'm not done until I say I'm done, right? That's the best part of best of 3 or best of 5. And I love that about the slams because this journey, we will come back to this over and over. And isn't that really the best part about the game? In an NBA, they get to have bragging rights for the better part of 6 months to a year as defending champs. And it doesn't matter what happens till the next year, you're still kind of defending champs. In tennis, you're defending champs for a whole whopping three months, maybe 3 weeks until the next time we play. And I used to hate that about tennis. I felt like tennis needed a real season. And now I appreciate the up and down. Buddy, you got me this time. We'll play again in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And you love that because, buddy, only time it's no longer rivalry is when I start pulling away from you, and for whatever reason, you don't keep up. And I feel like that's what Sinner and Alcaraz are both doing now. He's up, 5-0 now?
The last five, Alcaraz has won the last 5 in a row.
The last 5. But make no mistake, you and I both know Sinner's not going away, right? And so you're almost like, he got away with one this time. But it was a phenomenal match. And you and I are both looking forward to the time when not only does he notch his next win or his most recent win being Yannick Sinner, but we're looking forward to the next match. Guess what? They are too.
Exactly.
That's part of the game. And I love that about tennis. So I'm going to go back and talk about where I thought both of them were in Australia. And I'm going to kind of talk about where I think they are now. I think this match, and I hate to give so many accolades and talk to them so early in this rivalry, right? I feel like, I love your word organic. Let this happen organically. Let it kind of come to, let it come.
I think the organic part, though, is because, like, right now, everyone's paying attention, right? We just had this earth-shattering, like, truly monumental tennis match that really brought, like,
right.
It really transcended tennis and brought people from outside 100%. Of our sport to pay attention. But I think that originally happened in 2022. I think it's 2022 when they played at the U.S. Open the first time.
Yep.
And that match went 5 sets. And they were sliding around. I mean, they were doing their thing, right? It was a slightly younger version of what we saw on Sunday.
Today.
But that was the one where, like, people were like, who is this Carlos Alcaraz kid? And so that was the beginning of it. And I think now we're and that was not because of, he hadn't won any Grand Slams yet, right? He was a few days short of winning his first Grand Slam. Sinner, I don't think was even in the top 10 at that point. So very, very budding, very.
He may have been 6th in the world, Alvin.
Maybe. Wait, was he really?
I'm just saying. I'm putting it out there. So many of my lists that made top 6 were on their way. And a handful of the 6.
You got to pass through. You got to pass through at some point.
Don't get me
so
started.
I think that it's not too soon. It's early, but considering how much they've both accomplished so early, it's like, you know, 100%. It's really just hey, pay attention. It's happening. It's happening.
It's happening. And watch and enjoy, because Alvin, in 03, 04, was that when Fed first started putting it down? I was traveling with some players, obviously, at the tournaments quite a bit, was watching it literally as it happened. And I want to say Fed won 9 of 12, give or take, slams in those.
He won
those
3
years,
out of
like
4,
5,
3
6
years in a row. Disgusting.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was almost suffocating the stranglehold he had on pro tennis. Not for other players' lack of trying, by the way. He was just on another level. He had sprinted so far ahead, you were wondering, like, where'd he go? And it was, I also bet he's playing well right now, right? He was playing so well, it was disgusting. If you got a set off Fed, you were playing great tennis. Like, that was almost the consolation prize, dude. I took a set off Fed. I'm playing great right now. You know, who beats Fed?
Hakeem Arazi, didn't he beat him like two tournaments in a row?
Right. So these are the kind of things where you're like, wow, you know, this is starting to not. And I hate people say, oh, we're waiting for somebody else. This is getting boring. No. It's not boring. It's actually a master class.
And also aesthetically pleasing, too. Very beautiful game to watch.
100%. And then at some point, Nadal started getting his footing in the hard court, besides just clay, and obviously on the grass as well. And of course, we can't knock out Novak, who was like, hey, y'all forgot about me. We get all that. That part's obviously proven history, and we refer to it almost too often. Here's what I like about these two. We've been wondering in this post-GOAT era who was going to step up. And while we were asking the question, they've been quietly building the resume of, oh, by the way, hello. And now here we're seeing they are not only here, but they have put together a match that, in my opinion, rivals some of the best. Alvin, the only reason I didn't give it number 1 was out of nostalgia for the best matches.
Right, yeah, I was like, I came out of that match, and I was like, this is one of the best 3 matches I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what 1 and 2 are off the top of my head, but I'm not going to say one.
But I can't give it to him yet.
But, oh, God, it was so good.
The quality was that high. Now, with that said, and I've had a day or two to come down off that high, I feel like it's going to be a great rivalry going forward. Every match may not be this quality, but I will tell you, we have now been blessed to see such good tennis, and it being countered so that I feel like it will lift the level of tennis around the world, period, because now everybody else now realizes you have to be that good.
You know what? Okay, I'm so glad you said that. I was thinking about this today because I saw an interview that Ben Shelton did. And I think it was some of the guys from the Tennis Channel desk were asking him, like, you know, when you're watching a match like this, what does it what impact does it have on you and the other guys in the locker room? And he's like, I didn't really watch it. He said, I picked it up at 6-5 in the fifth when I heard the match gotten really good. I knew it was tight and started watching. It's like, but when you see these guys out here, like, he's like, they're sliding around from the baseline. It's crazy. He's like, as far as impact on him, he's like, I don't really play that style from the baseline. And he went kind of a little bit into the details of like differences in game style between him and those two. Right. And I thought to myself, if you're already on the pro tour, this won't impact you because it's too late. You more or less are who you are when you are there. Right. You can incrementally get better, but if you are a 60 in the world player for 3-4 years, you're not going to all of a sudden jump to top 10 and then start threatening the top 5. Like, Tiger doesn't 100%. Change stripes, right? You get a little better.
Right.
You can push up in the 30s, maybe have a good run, get better, but you're not going to change who you are as a player. And I say that to say, for those who are in that age range of 20 to 28, I think they're already too ingrained. Their tennis DNA is already too ingrained in who they are as players. Right. They're not going to adapt to become players that start to hurt.
Adapt, morph, evolve.
The point I made it.
20 maybe, but not 20.
But here's the nuance difference between 20 and 17. And when we went through this the other night, and I was talking about players that I think can challenge Sinner in Alcaraz, they need to be young, big hitters. Sinner is 23 years old and Carlos is 22, right? They hit the scene, let's call it 4 years ago.
Yep.
João Fonseca is 17 years old. 4 years ago, he was 13. He was a junior tennis player watching these pros on TV and going, oh, wow, I can do and then he goes out to practice and he's doing what they're doing. He's training through the sense of this is what I have to get to. And so and same thing goes for Mensik. And that's why I said, like, I don't think anyone who's currently one of their, contemporaries, if you will, is going to be the one to challenge them.
Right. Good word.
It's going to have to come from a generation that saw them do this.
Right. To your point, some of the older contemporaries are maybe now antiquated as a result
Casper
of this
said
match.
That. Tsitsipas said that. This is before the French Open, right? They were like, the game has changed since we've been out here. This is the change.
100%. Mehdi mentioned that a little bit, in Australia.
Bublik said it as well. This is the change. This is the personification of the change. So you need 100%. You need to have grown up seeing this type of tennis, aspiring for this type of tennis.
I see. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yes, I agree. Here's the flip side. There's change doesn't come easy, and it doesn't come while it inches forward. Every once in a while, the tectonic plates overlap, and you get an earthquake. That's what we have, right? Now we're back to the inching forward, right? There's going to be a very strong arm wrestle to get this out of the hands of Novak, Zverev, and such. And there's going to be another ascendancy of the next wave coming forward. And who are they behind it? We know 1 and 2 are going to be spoken for. I want to go back real quick about Ben Shelton and the other pros. The other pros don't watch like we watch. When I was coaching players on the tour, Alvin, you're so wrapped up in your schedule. Your players' tournament, your players' needs, your players' daily this, that, and the third. As soon as your player's out of the tournament, you're shifting gears into the next tournament and you're on to training for that next match, the next event. You don't watch. You keep tabs on. The fact that he tuned in at 6-5 in the fifth shows you he was already in 2 workouts, working on hitting serves. He's on the coach with his dad, Brian, on the court, I should say. He was already moved onto the grass. He's ready to go. Somebody texted him, called him. He picked up his phone, right? Where you and I and others are glued to the TV, right? Clear. And being entertained. The other top 10, top 20 in the world were literally, unless they happened to have a reason to watch, and that was their off day in that schedule that week, they weren't watching. They're going to watch the replay. They're going to go back and watch it and they're like, wow. But I think they will be affected because they're going to look at the tennis and they're going to be like, you got to be freaking kidding me. These guys are playing at a high level. I better pick it up. I guarantee you Ben goes back and watches the match. Too many people will bring it up to him and ask his opinion of it. And he will say, of course, he want to set off Alcaraz. He will have to go back and say, let me see what I did right. Let me see how he countered it. And as you watch film on anybody, you're going to watch the film of that match. And you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I had no idea they were capable of doing that. When I played him, he only did this. He now has this level, many, many levels higher than I thought. So I wanted to say that about the top. And you can't judge them / blame them, but at the same time, you can't take their word for much because they're so ingrained in their own thing. The only thing bringing them together is the tournament and the schedule. That's what brings these guys together. Everybody's
true.
I hate to say the word selfish.
Well, they have to be.
They're in their own little, they have to be. Now, don't think they didn't watch or aren't paying attention or that their coaches and teams aren't paying attention. Because I walk away from that match and I'm coaching Arthur Feast, Ben Shelton, Tommy Paul, Francis, Minsick, whoever that next up-and-coming player is. I'm thinking to myself, okay, we normally do this 15 times. We're now doing it 21 times.
That's fair.
The bar has been raised. And the coach, and the player looks at me and gives me any kind of a weird, hairy eyebrow, I'm like, dude, matter of fact, make it 25. Because you don't fully understand what you're about to go up against next time you play. I'm not saying he'll play that well every time, but you heard it right here. He has the capacity to play that well every time. And he has officially thrown down the gauntlet on the Pro Tour. And you may not get that set next time.
Wait, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about set or are you talking about Alcaraz? Either or.
I'm talking about either or. And whoever plays them. I'm talking about if I'm coaching Ben Shelton, you got a set. Nice job. You may not get that set next time. You may not.
Yeah, that's fair.
He will not give you that easy break next time. And you're going to have to be that much better just to be where you are. They have raised the level.
Speaking of some of those other players, as we kind of look forward to, we're almost at right about the halfway mark through the season.
Sure.
Actually, I'm going to ask you, which players are you concerned about based on what they've done the first 6 months of the year, looking forward to Wimbledon and the U.S. Open? But before you answer that,
let me qualify your statement before you ask it. Define concerned. You talking about winning a Grand Slam sometime soon? Because I'm concerned for all of them. Who am I concerned with falling out of the top 10? Am I concerned with dropping out off the radar?
Yeah, I think someone that's an easy answer is like somebody like Taylor Fritz. Are we concerned about him, who finished the year number 4 but has not performed up to that level? Like that would be but before you answer it, I want to go back. Sure. Someone asked us to clarify why Sabalenka thinks the way she thinks about Coco, why she thinks she is a superior player to Coco when they're head-to-head and results in big matches would say that she would say otherwise. And I was thinking about this and I was like, we all revert back to our 12 and unders version of ourselves, right?
100%.
And
100%.
the players who have the technical skills and pass the eye test are the ones that we always assume are the best players. And generally when we're younger, that's kind of the case, right? But then you get players, the moonballers, the pushers, who just win matches, right? Brad Gilbert wrote an entire book on this, Winning Ugly, right?
100%.
So
all I do is win.
It's very symbolic that Coco won her first Grand Slam with Gilbert on the bag. Yeah. And that she is the highest, I think the highest achieving version of that. She can win ugly. And Aryna does all the things, carries herself like a number 1, blows players off the court, and assumes that is always what should be the thing that wins. And Coco does the other thing to her. And that's why I personally feel like that's why she does not give her the respect she deserves.
I'm going to go further because I think you're hitting on something, but I think it goes much deeper. Number 1, a player always thinks their way is the best. And if it's been successful, they double down on it. And, Andy Roddick had a acronym on his Reebok
Fig
shoes
Jam.
Fig Jam, right? So we all understand.
Oh, gosh. The good old days.
Especially the just ask me part, right? The point I make with Fig Jam is that you couldn't tell Andy Roddick at that time that there was a better server, that there was a bigger server, that there was a bigger forehand, that there was a guy who could do it better than he could. Okay? Especially in 03. The Roddick now, with history and some age behind him, will say, I was kind of lucky to win that one in '03. I came in just before
Right.
fans
Yeah.
ascendancy. And to be honest, I played a pretty good tournament, you know what I mean? And while he was very good, and I felt because of the big three, robbed of about 3 or 4 more slams, was lucky to get the one he did, right? History and all that will serve notice. And again, Andy, if you're watching, shout out to you, brother. I'm still one of my favorite of all time. The point I'm making is Aryna is in her own capsule. She's in her own world of all things Aryna. I am working as hard as I can, as best as I can. I've had the results. I'm in every final. I will continue to get better, which is her mantra. I will come back stronger. And let's face it, she has, right? You look at body of work. I can't say that she's not the number one player in the world. You look at her results. You look at her time at number one. You look at her overall. 100%. She is the number one. The inferiority of Coco Gauff isn't so much against Coco. It's the superiority she feels of herself. And the flip side of that is, Alvin, who is she chasing and who did she want to knock off in the clay court season?
It was Iga
Swiatek, which was who she beat, and let's face it, had her own level of a Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner match in the semi. Knockdown, drag out, great tennis, blitzkrieging, back and forth. It was a great contest. In time, she will appreciate the hidden tiger, crouching dragon, whatever the movie title was, that Coco makes her play. Up until this time, she has not. She's also still young. Once she gets older and appreciates, once she's had time to marinate and let herself understand what actually happened in the rock, paper, scissors of the moment, she'll realize that she forced because Coco made her force. And then she will take the pill, as bitter as it may taste, and say, you know what? I've got to deal with this Coco Gauff because somebody forgot to tell Coco that she also has won a few Grand Slams and is worthy of anybody's attention here on tour. She's a little bit high on herself, as she has to be in that tour and that role, and she has done so much. How can she not be? But I think her issue is more with herself and who she was chasing and who she beat. And she just, in her mind, in my opinion, had looked past Coco a little bit and felt like the only way Coco wins is if I play a bad match. And look at all my errors. Heck, I made 70 errors. And that's why I was saying what I said. She's not wrong. But what she hasn't given full credit to, hey,
why'd you make 70 somebody errors? There's probably a reason your opponent might have had something to do with those errors.
You didn't just say, I think I'll make an error here 20 more times. The player forced you to. And that is the true rock, paper, scissors of it. And it will take time for her and maturity for her to accept that. And you heard it right here. They too will have their next iteration of that push-pull, up, down, as I say, rock, paper, scissors of it, of the match itself. And that will continue to get better. And I look forward to their next one.
That's an interesting perspective. And as you were talking, I was thinking about, we've often made comparisons here to, in terms of dominance. Aryna is the closest thing we've seen to Serena in the women's game since Serena, since her peak.
Serena.
But I think there's a somewhat of a nuance there that's starting to reveal itself. It was Serena versus the field, and Serena beat the field.
Right.
Like, she just repeatedly beat the field. And right now, it feels like it is, like, Aryna does not have a rival. But she is not.
Yeah.
In the last 4 Grand Slams, Aryna versus the field's winning. Right? So it's not as, like, you think about it, like, she gets to in our last 4 Grand Slams, she's only won 1 of them. Right? She's gotten to the finals, or 3 of them.
I'm about to say 3 of the 4.
3 in a row, right? But, and didn't play Wimbledon last year. But it's not as clear cut. She's not winning all of them. She's always there, but she's not winning all of them. She's lost more
I would
Grand.
also
She's
add
lost
to
as many
that,
Grand Slam finals as she's won.
there was a certain Grand Slam champion named Ivan Lendl who was in the same spot, Alvin. And I would certainly not be here to tell you that that was lack of trying or lack of him not being worthy of being there. What I think that speaks to, because the others were not in the other final, it was a different
Right.
person each time. And here's what I'm getting at with that statement, which proves Aryna's point. I should have won that match. I'm here to say, Alvin, this is the only thing I want to say about it, because I'm not making excuses for Aryna. She needs to grow up and she needs to give Coco her due. But she also needs to understand why she felt forced and really internalize that and understand this is the, as you called 12U tennis, the pusher versus the aggressive baseliner. But it's about 30 levels past. And that pusher is unbelievably fast and hitting an open stance backhand cross court within 2 feet of the baseline as I'm backing up, because I was not appreciating that somebody could do that. And while I'm trying to go inside out again and I'm late and hitting a buggy instead of hitting a step up forehand, and instead of me coming forward, because no one ever comes forward on my ball, she has to appreciate, in true Karate Kid style, somebody can beat me.
Well, speed is a weapon. Like, she has to,
and speed, and Coco has speed in spades, and that's my point. She has not yet fully embraced the fact that that is her antithesis. I'm also going to say, and this is part of her camp's job to get her to understand this, and her own maturity to get her head around, she has to get her mind around, Alvin, that her ball speed, we talked about this on this podcast, her ball speed, while it's a weapon, it also shows up her foot speed because her ball speed's so big. And I would tell you that Coco not only played a great match and played a great tournament, we said it before in the preview, Coco's speed on the clay gives her just enough time to have the edge. We knew going into this match Coco had the edge. I'm not sure if Aryna knew that. And I think at that point in time, Aryna needs to understand the profile, your word, of a player that can beat me and start to evolve her game to handle that style.
That's the interesting part about that matchup, though. And almost the same thing with Sinner and Alcaraz. There's only one person. It's just Coco. Like, I mean, obviously, Aryna lost to Madison in the final of the Australian Open. That was a very, very different match. She lost for a very, very different reason, right? Sure. But 100%. And has beaten Madison since, and has beaten her before that. So we'll take that out. The Coco situation. This was just another version of the same thing that happened in the U.S. Open. I mean, conditions were different, sure, but right. But when you get down to like looking at the tactics of the match, like the same thing happened, and it's hard to,
which she's not figured out yet.
Okay.
And what does every person who loses to a pusher, they blame the pusher for this. Oh, play the pusher. You know how to play the pusher. As if the pusher did something illegal and underhanded. The pusher. Oh, what was that? The pusher
they put the ball in the court.
Balls?
Oh,
they put the ball in the court one more time.
Yeah.
Oh, sad. I'm so sorry for you. As if you taking that risk in that big ball, as beautiful as it is, meant that the aesthetics of it should give you a 5-0 lead. No, that was your choice. And just like it was the counterer's choice to put the ball back. You know what? I've mentioned this a few times to some of my players. They act as if the pusher in this case is this, relegated level of player. And I've asked them a few times, and it's funny, because most people don't realize they push when they need to. What? I don't push. Oh, buddy, yes, you do. Every time you've hit a reset loop, every time you've hit an open stance ball in the corner, every time you've hit a ball, anything back for the middle deep as you could to get back in play, a reset clay court return, you've pushed. Oh, but that was just to get my forward. Yeah, you pushed. So we all push. You have to. There's no time you can be on offense all the time. It's just a physical impossibility. What has happened is they don't realize off of that ball, what else could you do? And this is my problem with Aryna. Aryna's played her a few times now. And she had to have gone back and look at her tape and say, you know what? I see what Coco did. She hit the ball back. I went inside out like I always do. I went big backhand. And I should have been going more big down line backhand to her forehand, or I should have come forward more. And I realize now why I lost that match. And take the match as a learning lesson and come forward more when she has Coco on the stretch. Go back behind her at times if necessary. Short her more if necessary. But bottom line, continue to finish the play. She starts the play. Other players miss. She hits a big forehand. She comes forward, they miss. Then you got a girl that can actually make that on the run, make that pass, make that dipper. And all of a sudden, you have to finish the pattern you started. And that is hard to do, Alvin. That is hard to do. And it's a lot of burden to take on because it's a lot of risk. So now she has to do that if she wants to be who she thinks she is. If she will look back at this match, Alvin, and this rivalry.
It's a thing now.
And she will say, in 2 years, I'm hoping, it'll probably be more like 5 years. She's stubborn, I want to personally thank Coco Gauff for making me a better tennis player. Because up until that time, I thought I knew what good was. And without Coco, I would have never reached the level that I thought I could get to. I thought I was there. And Coco helped me take another level. You heard it right here. I think Nadal did that for Federer. I think Novak has done that for both of them. And I think as complete as their games look now, Alcaraz and Sinner will continue to push the game to a new level because each of them is basically finishing the other one's sentence. And they are starting to realize, I got to get one more thing against you. I got to have one more thing against you. And guess what? At that point, they already have no holes. Now they're going to get an extra nuance, an extra level, a secret weapon, so to speak, that they know he beat me with this several times. The out wide serve, Alvin, that Carlos hits on Sinner on the deuce was countered this match. So much so that it wasn't even a factor until late in the match. But that shows you how fast that Sinner's camp is recognizing the trends against Carlos. That's what Aryna's team has to now do with Coco. And the same thing for Coco's team. They cannot assume just because you outground her, hit some big shots, got her flustered, hit some low slices on the forehand, and was able to hit your forehand. They can't assume that you now have Aryna's number. Aryna will come back strong. And that part I will give her. And now you have a rivalry. Tennis is the better for both players getting better as a result.
Well, then let me then kind of like, as we look forward to the rest of the year, two players, one on each side, that I want to ask, do they have a chance to kind of pop in there and make this interesting? Did you see enough out of Iga in the semi to make you feel like she's back in her skin? Like obviously she. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great answer.
Yes.
Do you believe in Jack Draper?
Don't move on from Iga yet. Do I think she'll win another Grand Slam in this calendar year?
Oh, I don't put that pressure on her. I want to say, is she contending? I'm always okay. I'm always okay with players getting beat if they bring it, right? She brought
I'm with you.
A championship level of tennis to Aryna in that semifinal. She just got beat. She just got
100%.
beat.
But I want to say something, Alvin, and I think what you're saying is very spot on. But you have to also contend with what just happened. The level has now been raised.
But from where she was before the tournament, she was in the lurch, right?
She was in the doldrums. I mean, she was somewhere.
But she's back back in the fight now.
Oh,
God, I feel the same, and I feel good about that because she's still won 4 Grand Slams, 5 Grand Slams, 5.
I think it's 4. Whatever it is.
4.
Maybe they can tell us in the chat.
4 French, 1 US Open. I think that's right. Yeah. Okay.
There you go. So here's my point. But will that be enough going forward? And that's my only issue, because now she's been drummed by Coco on clay, which was her best surface, and Aryna's now beat her. So much like some of the other players we've seen, and I know you want to move on to the other players, very similar. I just say it to say, will it be enough going forward? That's my concern. And Iga now needs to also retool and create another weapon. She's going to have to get that serve just a tad better. It looked the best I've seen it since I've seen her. It's going to have to get a little bit better in general. That's not to say the others won't, but hers in particular will have to get there, because that's where now I still feel it's the biggest thing that she attacks other people's returns, other people's weak serves, and hers is still attackable.
Huh.
You disagree with that or no?
As far as like if we had one thing to work on, I don't know that I would worry so much about that. I think that back to your original point about finishing the drill, I would love to see Aryna take a little more variety when she's moving forward, right? Big.
I'm talking about Iga. I'm with you on Aryna.
Apologies.
I'm talking about
Apologies.
Iga.
Yeah.
Aryna
Yeah.
for sure.
I was like, T, I don't know, man. That serves fine.
I'm talking Iga. Will Iga serve? She does a good job of attacking the return. And yet her serve is still attackable. This tournament, Alvin, her serve was very, very good, considering what it was in the past. But Alvin, I got to tell you, if you make your money off of being one of the best attacking returners in the game, and you still have a weak serve. You know what Agassi did on the Agassi 2.0, really almost 3.0, who had some of the best returns in the world? Agassi retooled his serve, Alvin, and that almost never happens in the men's game. Andre got a pretty good serve there toward the end. Had a nice little down up, almost like a mini, it was kind of a hybrid, it was a hybrid pinpoint, not pinpoint, he had a platform, but he had a kind of a down, hit it on the way up, pop with the serve, and Alvin, he got a pretty good out wide, had a pretty good down the tee, he got a really good drop shot. He retooled his game to allow his service games to be holds because he knew he had great returns. Novak Djokovic has done the same. He has done a phenomenal job with his serve in recent past. Novak had no serve and no form when he first started out, and he has a great serve now, but hits targets, hits serves. He hardly ever gets broken. To my point, that's what Iga's going to have to do. Because it may not be enough to just be the Iga before, as you say, in her skin. It may not be enough going forward. Certainly not enough to win a Grand Slam with these two out there right now. That's what I was getting at. And I wanted to make sure we didn't move on before saying that, because getting back to where she was is great. But what if that is only 4 in the world level going forward?
I think back in the fight, as long as she's back in the fight, right? Because we can live in a world where someone else got better, which is Aryna, right? Aryna got better. Okay, now maybe.
But what if 5 players out of the top 10 got better? And that now puts you at 6, and you're a former Grand Slam champion. Is that better?
Yeah, that's what I don't know that I'm ready to say that quite yet. That's the part where I feel like when I say back,
if the serve doesn't get better, she'll be saying it, Alvin, whether she likes it or not. That's just the facts.
Okay, that's
other players will do so. I think Jasmine Paolini's in the same boat. Has to get that serve better. Period. It's just what.
Well, I mean, you could then run that out about the vast majority of the women on the pro tours. Like second serves are attackable.
We'll say it, and we'll continue to say it. Thank you. And Emma Navarro is classic case number 1 of, hey, by the way, in case you didn't get the memo, all WTA players inside the top 10 will have to have a good serve going forward.
Yeah.
See, said memo.
Yeah. Okay, so the Draper of things, right? Who is the one that? Okay, Jack's the same age, right? He is kind of sniffing top 5. I think he's in the top 5 right now. We're going into Wimbledon. Okay. It's going to be. It's good. Yep. It's going to be a wild one for him. Like, good looking, strapping dude. Now he's a top 10 player. Like he's got all this stuff. Like it's going to be a fun ride. Jack Draper at Wimbledon, but you know we saw him show proficiency on the clay court. I'm not going to say what I saw against Casper. Got to the finals of Madrid, whatever. But what I did see was proficiency. He did not look like a lost boy out there. We've seen him make long runs at the U.S. Open, right?
Yep.
He has beaten Carlos at was it Indian Wells?
Yep.
Indian
Wells. Yep.
So he's in the conversation. Can he further himself into that conversation? Can he? Because he's kind of the one that's there, right? In that top space. You don't believe in Musetti. 6 through 12 is whatever. Novak showed that he can still compete at this level, but this level is they're going one way, he's going the other way.
They're starting to
and then
pull away.
Zverev has obviously shown that he's impotent in this space, right? So
impotent would be a
compliment. I'm feeling I had a good day today. So but then that leaves Jack, right? So do you feel like Jack
is it Jack's for the taking? Yes. Jack is right-handed, who learned to play left-handed. And just like Nadal, he never had a huge serve. My only issue with Jack is how big can the serve get? How many freebies can he count on? It is grass. his backhand is all day. Everybody knows that. His forehand's big, ironically, uh, given that the backhand's that big and he's right-handed. I've coached some players, Alvin. Shout out to my main man, Chad Carlson, who had one of the best forehand on both sides that I'd ever seen at that point in time. Number one at Georgia, top player in the world, got to about 400 in the world ATP. That other hand is just never going to have the speed that the other hand will. And I understand the ambi better than most because I've coached a lot of players that have been opposite hand and served, where this hand is served.
Yeah. I was just kind of thinking through what you were saying. Okay, yeah.
It's difficult, and they are phenomenally skilled because they can do it on both hands. But the serve was always a bit of a mystery in terms of actual speed and to have that strength / racket speed in that hand. Here's what I'm saying, Alvin. I don't want to get in the weeds with it. Jack Draper, it is his tournament it is his for the taking to maintain 4 and try to get to the semi. I would do 3 things. Number 1, I would hire Andy Murray because I would need somebody extremely, not only obviously from Great Britain as the country, but also to understand the pressures of it all, but also to push me to limits I've not been pushed to yet myself. Number 2, I would continue to work on whatever I can to increase the fast twitch in my left hand on serving things. I don't care if that's playing padel on the side. I don't care if that's doing wristers 100 of them a day to work on that snap, to just keep working on it. I saw my old school buddy, Lex Carrington's dad, with the actual buggy whip.
Oh yeah, do you know him?
Instagram videos. I know Lex well, and I know his dad. His dad was old school, and a good player.
He's got an Instagram account where he's posting a lot of videos. Oh, that's the guy you know, or that's the dad of the guy you know?
That's the dad of the guy.
Okay, yeah, his stuff is good.
Arthur Carrington, and Lex is. I know Lex pretty well. Bottom line, Arthur is a character.
He's got the ribbons and he's doing the thing.
Oh, buddy, and buddy, he is one of my favorite old school characters. I mean, the guy's awesome. I mean, long story. I mean, he needs to fly to Arthur and get a quick lesson on the snap of that left hand. Is where I was going with this whole conversation. And number 3, he now has to continue to finish his pattern, finish the drill. I know that's a big thing with you. He's got to finish the drill, Alvin, with his coming forward and doing what he's done. He did it on hard court. Let's face it, Alvin, the guy first breaks through. You don't think the guy's really serious. You don't think he's that good. He kind of surprises you. Now you know he's that good. You prepare for him. He now has to be ready for the onslaught of guys ready to take him down because now he's the hunted hunter. And I think between those 3 things, finishing his drill, bigger serve / buggy whip and snap, on that left hand, and hiring Murray to understand the burden of doing so in England, right, is tough. And I think he needs to understand that that's going to, in itself, is not an easy feat. I'm just saying it's his for the taking if he does it. Another person I think is going to struggle this year that has a lot of expectations because we're playing well as of late is Emma Raducanu. I don't know if she's fully ready to make that next jump back to the semis.
You think she's going to struggle at Wimbledon, or you think she's going to struggle the rest of this year?
I think Wimbledon in particular, because there's a lot of pressure on them. We have to understand the pressure that a country puts on you to do some of those same things. And I feel like it's a difficult thing, Alvin. It's a difficult thing to be from that country and have the whole country watching, pulling, and oohing and on your good stuff, and the whole country taking a sigh and holding their breath when you don't do something so good. It's a tough thing. We're not in a country that small to understand how local that is. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. What is? You know what I mean?
Let's take. I mean, just kind of the Emma of things. Not saying I'm getting sidetracked because I don't really have anything to say on. I am a sidetrack. Let's take her Grand Slam out of this. Like, what is her? Yeah. What do we believe her ceiling is? Because I think in the last episode I said she is her game style, and having grown up on grass court, I feel like she is in that second tier of contenders for making a deep run there.
I couldn't.
But what do we think her ceiling is?
Low.
Yeah, what do you think your ceiling is? Like, what when you say Emma Raducanu, best case scenario, what numbers next to her name? Like, where do you rate her as a player?
Best case scenario.
Yeah, she's healthy. She's playing her best tennis. Like, what is she? Is she a top 5 player? Is she a top 10 player? Like, what do you?
5
Okay.
or 6.
Yeah, I
100%.
had 6.
Which is
I had 6
phenomenal.
I had 6
I
in
don't
my
think
head.
she's close to that. She's not there now, and it will take some tough sledding to get to 5 or 6. Make no mistake. This tournament is one she could do it on, because we all know the points and the impact that this tournament can do. She's playing well now, and she's going into this playing well, not playing well, and it's her home, quote unquote, her home slam. I think this could be a good tournament for her. I do know the country's hopes are on her again, and you have to have a certain mettle to understand that and to take and embrace that. You know, Hemman spoke to that quite a bit. Hemman would be another good addition to either one of them's camp, because here's a player that was top 5 in the world for almost his entire career, for the bulk of the latter end of his career, who did it and always seemed to get to quarters the same as a Wemby every year for those 6, 7, 8 years he was out there. And again, was always, in my opinion, underrated in terms of his value, but always seemed to be there getting it done. I mean, just kept getting done, and I loved Tim Hemman for that. And of course, Andy Murray for coming through with both the gold medal and the Wemby, you know, for the country, which I thought was great. So all that to say, I think it's just a little bit of a bigger load on those 2 players because it's the home slam.
Okay,
that's all.
That's fair.
And there's not many more behind them. Let's be honest. There's not like there's this whole country of people behind them. You know what I mean? There isn't. They are it. I don't think there's another good one or two. You know, what's the cute little black girl's name? Heather Watson. Heather Watson's done. I mean, she's done, ain't coming through. I don't know if there's another good one. Did see a good girl from England in the girls French Open. I think she got to the final. In the junior.
I don't.
So she might be another girl coming up. Anyway, I need to research her and do more before I speak on her. But those are you like seeing that. You like seeing that those players come from those on the clay of all places. You know what I mean? Like, how about that?
Yeah.
So anyway, look forward to seeing what she does in the junior Wemby.
Okay. I don't have a ton else. I just wanted to make sure we got a chance to really put a bow on the French Open, because I feel like tennis. There are moments in time where our sport gets a chance to shine, right? Like really take front and center. Especially here in the U.S., right? You know, we don't necessarily know what the global impression of tennis is. Like, no one does, because you only get it from where you are, right?
Right. You see through your lens.
For TNT Sports to get this gift on their first go round of having the French Open, a fantastic tournament. I hope we got some new fans. I hope there are more people wanting to still talk about tennis and get excited about it, because it's still exciting. 100%. We have a lot of awesome characters, and if it takes matches like, you know, Sabalenka versus Iga, or Sabalenka versus Coco, or, you know, Alcaraz versus Sinner to get people into our house, like, whatever, come on in, enjoy it. We've got lots of rooms here. There's lots of space.
I would add to that match. Sinner versus Novak. You know, that was another good match of passing the torch, right? And people understand who these people are. They don't necessarily know the game. They don't necessarily know all the X's and O's behind it, but they know who that player is. And to beat that player on that day is a big deal. Tennis has thrust itself back into relevancy, Alvin, on the national and the international scene, which I love. Not that it never is not relevant, but let's face it, sometimes it can go up and down, and it loses its prominence. I love the fact that tennis literally kicked the door down, like, hey, in case you haven't watched tennis in a while, this is what we're doing out here now. You know what I mean? And I thought it was a great tournament. And let's face it, those 6 players did the sport a huge favor in pushing it forward into this new age of players, both the players that are coming up, the fans that are starting to tune in. Spike Lee was courtside, Alvin, for the final of both matches. And Dustin Hoffman and such. We haven't seen those kind of big time names outside of Wemby and US Open. They're traveling to the French just to support some of these kind of players. Well, that was huge. And I want to say this, Alvin, because I think it's important. When the sport starts, you said earlier about transcending. When the sport starts to transcend its normal audience and starts to be a front page deal, and the fact that all this hubbub has come from how much credit we're giving these 2 people over some of the game's greats. I don't care about who said it and what he said. The fact that it's an argument shows you how quality the level is right now. You know what I mean? I don't care that Matt got in trouble for saying he could beat Rafa in his prime. It
Right.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll never know. But the fact that it was that good, and that I listened to Mats Wilander talk about, and Mats is a former French Open champion, got 2 or 3 slams to his title. Maybe more. Forgive me, Mats, if I'm cutting you short. Nothing short of respect. But he's saying it took him a minute to get his head around what he just saw, which let me know, like me, like you, like those who are watching and listening, they also, wow, that was some quality tennis right there. Mats made people look stupid on the clay. I mean, here's a guy that put tennis on lockdown in the mid to late 80s. Like, dude, is that all you got? I can do this 20 more balls. What are you talking about? You know, and for him to give that kind of credit, these guys aren't the types to give a lot of credit. They're top in the world.
Yeah,
the
greats don't easily give that out, and when they do,
and when they give it out in copious amounts,
you need to pay attention.
Pay attention. So the fact that those players have earned that level of respect. Again, I don't think the next match will be quite as fireworks as this one was. But make no mistake, I'm looking forward to the next match, and the world is looking forward to the next match. So, that's what's
and
great
I like
about
that. Like I remember I think the Fed Nadal comp is going to be used a lot moving forward, and there's a certain aspect to it that we have to keep in mind that when they were 1 and 2 for so long, you had this anticipation building. Because they both had to get there. So as they move forward in the tournament, and if they had a close match or something in the round of 16 of the quarters, you're like, "Ooh, am I going to be robbed of a Fed Nadal final?"
Right.
And you get to the semifinals, it's like, "Oh, could we possibly get Fed Nadal in the final?" And I think that's where we are right now. It's like when Lorenzo pieced out against Carlos, I was like, "Oh well, whatever, I don't care. That's fine." At least I'm probably gonna get. Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. I didn't need more tennis today. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. And I think the last thing I'll finish with is like, especially in the United States, Roger Federer cut through to the American audience globally, but specifically in the American audience. Like he made tennis cool in a space where we didn't have any American stars, right, on the men's side. And I think that's what you're getting from Carlos. He brings people who appreciate sport. They can recognize that he's doing something unique and cool. And then Coco is she has this magnetism to her that brings people wanting to support her, wanting to be.
It's a magnetism. It's a youth. It's a humility. It's a young person who is getting comfortable in the space that she's created for herself, which is always awesome to see. And as we always say in our culture, Alvin, game recognize game. And when you see that level of player ascending to that level, the highest level, at the highest stage, what did Chris Carter say? Big time players make big time plays in big time games, right? And so, and that's what she did. So you have to appreciate, Sabalenka's not going to be okay with that. I mean, how could she be? She's a big time player, and she's not going to appreciate that that's happened. But she will come back stronger, as she said she will. I believe her, and I'll be looking forward to that next installment. And I'm really looking forward to the Madison Keys, the Iga Swiatek's. I'm looking forward to the Paulinis. I'm looking forward to the Badozas. I'm looking forward to all the ones. Mira. Was Rebecca. I'm looking forward to all of them having their say and, hey, you forgot about me. You know what I mean? I'm still here. And I look forward to that. I look forward to Draper. I look forward to Lorenzo.
Wimbledon
semifinals
last year.
All these players. I look forward to all these players getting their game, getting their mind right, and starting to keep up with these guys. Because Alvin, if they don't, these two guys can run off with this thing for the next 6 to 8 slams. Let's be honest.
If you had to guess, and I'll leave you with this. If you had to guess, if we got to Wimbledon to the final on the men's side, and one of Carlos and Sinner is not in the final, which one of them is it?
It's hard to imagine either of them not being there. Which one?
There's only one right answer.
Outside of an injury or something weird,
they got beat,
right? Something crazy. The only player that has a higher high and a lower low to me is Carlos. He's the player that still could still have a bad match. I don't know what it is that Yannick is doing. I don't know if Yannick has a bad day. If he has had one, he's he 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 flew it past me so low under the radar that I didn't recognize
It is kind of
it.
weird.
Carlos, I mean, his bad days are 9 out of 10. It's like, I had 13 to 4 errors today. It was a tough day for me. I mean, Carlos could still lose to an unknown player on a given day. He's just brash like that. He's young like that. I don't know about Yannick, man. Yannick clears his schedule, man. He has somebody on his team doing research on the guy 361 in the world. He would never have lost to Boisson. I'll tell you that right now. He would have Boisson's tape like it was the head of the NSA. He'd be looking at him. See, you beat so and so in 2015. Yeah, I watched that match. I mean, that's just what he seems like to me. He's got you figured out. I noticed when you were 15, you switched rackets. I mean, he just has that kind of mindset. Carlos would be the one to answer your question. At the same time, Carlos is the one that I could see not losing a set going into the quarter or semi if he's playing well. And so, as I say, his high is high and his low could be low. But buddy, you better hope. And as my good friend Adam Gusky always said, hope is not a strategy. But you better hope that he has a bad.
I just want to make sure we're aware of the fact that Carlos has won the last 2 Wimbledons. I'm just going to say it.
Oh, no. To my point.
I don't think
that's why it's hard for me to assume that he will not get there. And he beat the brakes off of Novak in his own passing of the torch match last year.
While we have him, and I will
dinged up, bandaged up.
While we have him in this kind of like wild card role, I really like this Novak not in the top 4 seed because it gives some anticipation to the draws. It's like where's he gonna land? Like and all the and it's like Sinner and Carlos is like, all right, where's he gonna be? Where is he gonna be?
Right.
And whoever doesn't have to deal with him is like better off for it because I still think he could win this tournament.
For you. Oh, for sure, but he's got a tough road to hoe. Here's my last question. We can put a pin in after this. You, Mr. Alvin Owusu, went so far as to think that he was going to retire very quickly after Miami and such. I think 5 weeks.
I said he was calling it. He was calling it a day after Wimbledon. That's what I said. I said that. Yeah.
After Wimbledon. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you put it out there. Are you still standing by that?
I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I said what I said. I said what I said.
I think he's bowing out after Australia, but to your point, I do think he's bowing out. Do you think he bows out better now knowing that it's in good hands or because he feels like he can't win one now because they're in his way? That's my question. And I know it's 50-50 on both sides of it, but which is 51?
Wait, what's the question again? Give me.
The question is it time? Or does he feel like he cannot beat either of them if he runs into them? So therefore, what's the point? I can't get 25.
Novak logic is not anyone else's logic, but I will say this.
Agree.
Sinner got him pretty clean. Like, I mean, he beat him. He beat him. Beat him clean.
Yeah. Right, he didn't lose to him. He didn't let him lose.
He played 2 Grand Slams this year. In 1 Grand Slam, Sinner beat him. In the previous Grand Slam, Novak beat Carlos. So I don't think that Novak is sitting here right now saying, I can't win a Grand Slam. The Sinner thing is an issue, but I think on grass, he still has a really good chance here. Like I've said, he's old man in the post. Like he will just shit. Yep. Yeah, he will body his way into the semifinals of this event. And he's lost to Carlos in the last 2 finals, but very, very different ways. But he just beat Carlos. So what does all that mean? I still feel like it ends up with him leaving after this. I don't think he's going through a hard court run. I don't think he needs to come back to Australia. I think this is it. I still think this is it. And shit, we'll be in Cincinnati, and he'll be there out there hitting balls, and I'm like, whatever. All right, let's get out of here.
Same, bro.
Alvin, that's Torrey. Best of 3. Please, if you're watching and you like this kind of stuff, consider subscribing. That's a cool thing. You'll know when we're back out here. But yeah, that's it. We're out.
Peace.